Welcome to the UFC weigh-in on Fuel TV. Like all of the nation, our thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Boston and Texas right now, and all the families affected by these horrific tragedies of the past week. It's hard to comprehend and seemingly impossible to even talk about sports during times like these, but we hope to become a welcome distraction over the next hour as we bring you the weigh-ins from San Jose, California.
The UFC, the world leader in MMA. Experience it on Fuel TV.
The Octagon touches down in San Jose, California. Fittingly enough, the old Strikeforce stomping grounds. That is the location for this weekend's UFC action. It is champion versus champion, and the champ is here. UFC lightweight champion of the world, Benson Henderson, highlights a Fox card once again. And he will be going against Strikeforce champion Gilbert Melendez, the champ at 155 in the now defunct Strikeforce organization. Welcome to the show. We are coming to you live from the California Theater here in San Jose, California. Got a huge Saturday on tap for you of Fox fights tomorrow. Welcome inside the weigh-in show, everybody. I'm your host, Jay Glazer, joined by, we're talking about champions, Bantamweight champion of the world, Dominic Cruz, and of course, the All-American, Brian Stanton. Guys, when Zuffa first bought out Strikeforce a little over 2 years ago, this is what we were hoping for. Strikeforce versus UFC. We have 8 fighters on the card tomorrow who are from Strikeforce. You're looking for a Grand Prix, we're giving it to you tomorrow.
Yeah, we got Gilbert Melendez headlining the card. I mean, that's unbelievable considering he spent half of his career in title fights. This guy is built for title fights. He's built for pressure. He knows how to deal with it. He's going to bring a great fight to the champion now in the UFC, Benson Henderson.
And that's the lightweight division, but also the heavyweight division has somebody you're really looking forward to seeing.
I don't know if I've ever been this excited for a UFC debut. Daniel Cormier, the best wrestler to ever convert to MMA. He devastated the Strikeforce heavyweight division, winning their Grand Prix. He makes his debut not against just anyone, against former champion Frank Mir, a guy who's been in the mainstay for years in the title contention in the heavyweight division.
You saw a very relaxed DC right there. The last time we had a fight on Fox, it was Benson Henderson defending his title against Nate Diaz, and now he goes against Diaz's his teammate in Gilbert Melendez.
Yeah, I mean, and Gilbert brings a big skill set for Benson to deal with, because Benson's never dealt with a guy with this good of boxing that can wrestle. But let's not forget, Ben has a good way of dealing with that. He can fight going backwards because of his counter wrestling. Not just that, but when he threatens that takedown, it'll bring the punch count of Gilbert Melendez down, as he does not want to be on his back against a guy like Ben. Let's not forget about his powerful kicks. He sets all his scrambles up with kicks, and that's how he also gets in on the takedown. So Benson has a lot of tools to bring to Gilbert.
Gilbert, though, like you said, he also has a lot of tools because he is still the Strikeforce champion. Even though Strikeforce isn't around, he's the last champion of that organization.
Gilbert Melendez has been one of the top lightweights in the world for years. Now he finally gets his chance to prove that he's the best in the world. He brings an incredible pace to his fighting. His boxing is incredible. He's a very good wrestler, much better than his teammate Nate Diaz, who Benson Henderson defeated in his last fight with brutal ground and pound. Look for his pace to be a factor tomorrow night.
Guys, I'm excited for that one. Tomorrow we're going to hear from Benson later on in the show, but right now it's time to bring in the 4th member of our broadcast crew, Ariel Helwani. More on this Strikeforce invasion. Ariel.
You know, Jay, UFC President Dana White once famously dubbed the Strikeforce organization Strike Farce. Now, of course, that was before Zuffa, the parent company of the UFC, purchased the San Jose-based promotion back in 2011. And ever since they decided to merge the two brands earlier this year, these Strikeforce fighters that have fought in the UFC have proven to be anything but a farce. You know, they started off blazing hot, 4-0 inside the octagon. Since then, they've cooled off a bit. They're 8-6. But tomorrow night at Fox UFC Saturday, they have a huge opportunity to make a very big statement in a venue, by the way, that hosted 15 Strikeforce events in the past. Of the 12 fights on the card tomorrow night, 8 of them feature Strikeforce fighters versus UFC vets, and of course the headlining act is former Strikeforce lightweight champion Gilbert Melendez versus current UFC lightweight kingpin Benson Henderson. Now, UFC President Dana White says this is all just a coincidence, and that may be true. But what if they dominate tomorrow night? What if they go 8-0? What will the naysayers then say about the late great Strikeforce? Jay?
Well, we will find out the answer to that and more in about 24 hours. We'll hear more from Ariel during the live weigh-in, as well as Dominic and Brian with some interesting nuggets on our Fox UFC Saturday competitors. But folks, also we want to hear from you throughout the broadcast. It's time for our Twitter poll question. Which Strikeforce transplant are you most excited to watch? The choices are Gilbert Melendez, Daniel Cormier, and Josh Thompson. To vote, just tweet hashtag Melendez debut, hashtag Cormier debut, or hashtag Thompson return. We will have the results later on in the show. Folks, when we come back, Benson Henderson, Melendez, Frank Mir, Nate Diaz, and the rest of the Fox UFC Saturday stars will step up on the scale. When we return, Joe Rogan will be on the mic.
The UFC weigh-in.
San Jose, what's happening? Welcome to the weigh-ins, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Brittany. Dana White, without him, none of this would be possible. Joe Silva, best matchmaker on the planet. Bruce Buffer, international playboy. And Burt Watson, babysitter to the stars. Let's get it popping, ladies and gentlemen. We got a hell of a card for you. We will kick things off in the middleweight division. Clifford Starks and Yoel Romero.
A silver medalist in wrestling at the 2000 Summer Olympic Games, Yoel Romero underwent serious neck surgery just last April, and at the time, his doctor told him he may never fight again. A year later, here he is, about to make his UFC debut.
$185 for Mr. Romero. And his opponent, Clifford Starks.
Tomorrow, the UFC returns to Fox as lightweight champion Benson Henderson puts his title on the line against top contender Gilbert Melendez, highlighting a full night of epic fights. Henderson versus Melendez for the lightweight title. Fox UFC Saturday is live and free tomorrow, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern.
$185.5. First fight of the night, ladies and gentlemen, Clifford Starks and Yoel Romero. Next up in the lightweight division, Anthony Njokuani and Roger Bowling.
Fox Saturday Baseball returns tomorrow with another 3 great matchups as Triple Crown winner Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers take on Mike Trout and the Angels for the Nationals. Battle the Mets in New York or the Twins White Sox. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Chevrolet returns tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
And his opponent, Anthony the Assassin Njokuani. Roger Bowling and Anthony Njokuani. Next up, we kick things off live on FX. Starting off in the Bantamweight division, TJ Dillashaw and Hugo Viana.
Prior to a 2009 Amateur Muay Thai Championship, an event announcer asked Hugo Viana what his nickname was. He said he didn't have one. The announcer looked at his amazing beard and thought, Wolverine. He called him Wolverine, and it has stuck with him ever since.
First up on the scale, Hugo Viana.
135.
135. And his opponent, TJ Dillashaw.
TJ Dillashaw, who's got 3 wins in a row now in the UFC, looking to make it number 4. He's looked fantastic as of late. Look for improved striking with his new coach, Dwayne Ludwig, but it's his ground and pound that's very aggressive that's going to be the key in this fight.
$136 for Mr. Dillashaw. The first fight on FX, ladies and gentlemen, TJ Dillashaw and Hugo Viana. Next up, we move on to the lightweight division. Tim Means versus Jorge Masvidal.
Jorge Masvidal's days of eating brownies for breakfast have sadly come to an end. He says his metabolism just can't keep up with that diet. In fact, he hasn't had any kind of junk food for the last 6 weeks. To say he's jonesing right now would be an understatement.
$156 for Mr. Masvidal. And his opponent, Tim Means.
Sunday, NASCAR heads to Kansas, where Daytona 500 champion and points leader Jimmy Johnson will look for his 3rd career victory. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of the STP 400 begins Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern.
156. Jorge Masvidal and Tim Means, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we move on to the flyweight division. Joseph Benavidez and Darren Uenoyama. $425 for Mr. Uenoyama. And his opponent, Joseph Benavidez.
Joseph Benavidez is a guy I fought 2 times. I know him very well. He's got great ground and pound, great guillotine, a la Team Alpha Male. On top of that, look for his offensive striking and great counter-striking abilities.
$125. That's a hell of a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Darren Uenoyama and Joseph Benavidez. Next, we move on to the lightweight division. Ramsy Najim versus Miles Jury.
Miles Jury trains with me at Alliance Training Center. He's got great counter-striking ability. At the same time, his top position is above all the rest from the past tough shows. He looks for submissions from the top along with ground and pound, and his movement is very good. Look for his angles.
$156 for Miles Jury. And his opponent, Ramsy Najim. $156. Jury and Ramsy Najim, ladies and gentlemen. Next bout takes place in the middleweight division. Francis Carmel and Lorenz Larkins.
Lorenz Larkins stays true to his roots. His nickname's the Monsoon. Why? Because his brother's name's Monsoon. And if you look closely at the side of his head, he has a picture of a bell shaved over there, in honor of a famous landmark in his hometown of Riverside, California.
First up on the scale, Lorenz Larkin.
186.
186. And his opponent, Francis Carmel.
Francis Carmel, ladies and gentlemen, who's quietly amassed a 4-0 record since coming into the UFC. He's looking to make it 5-0 and get himself into fights with some major contenders in the middleweight division.
That's gonna be fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. Francis Carmel and Lorenz Larkin. Next, we move to the featherweight division. Chad Money Mendez versus Darren the Damage Elkin. $145 for Mr. Elkin. And his opponent, Chad Money Mendez. $146 for Mr. Mendez. That's a featherweight war, ladies and gentlemen. Chad Mendez and Darren Elkin. Next, we move to the main card live on Fox. We kick things off in the welterweight division. Matt the Immortal Brown versus Jordan Young Gun Meehan.
Jordan Meehan began his MMA career an unimpressive 4-4, including a loss to Rory McDonald. Since then, though, he's gone 23-4. Yes, the 23-year-old young gun Jordan Meehan enters tomorrow night's fight with 35 pro fights on his resume.
And his opponent, Matt the Immortal Brown.
Matt Brown, ladies and gentlemen, went all the way over to Cuba to prepare for this fight. He wanted to improve in his wrestling, so he trained with the Cuban national wrestling team and their boxing team in preparation for this fight. Look for some improved takedowns from Matt Brown.
$171 for Mr. Brown. First fight on Fox, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Brown and Jordan Meehan. The next fight takes place in the lightweight division. Nate Diaz versus Josh the Pug Thompson.
Tomorrow Tomorrow, the UFC returns to Fox as lightweight champion Benson Henderson puts his title on the line against top contender Gilbert Melendez, highlighting a full night of epic fights. Henderson versus Melendez for the lightweight title. Fox UFC Saturday is live and free tomorrow, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern.
And his opponent, Nate Diaz!
Nate Diaz, training partner of Gilbert Melendez, has great boxing ability. He mixes the body and the head up very well, and if you try to take him down, he has 11 of 16 victories come by submission. Keep a lookout for the finish.
$157.
157.
Hit it.
156 for Mr. Diaz. Ladies and gentlemen, is an outstanding lightweight battle. Josh Thompson and Nate Diaz. Next, we move on to the co-main event of the evening. In the heavyweight division, former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir versus Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix champion Daniel Cormier.
Daniel Cormier, ladies and gentlemen, is the very best American wrestler to ever cross over in the sport of mixed martial arts. He devastated the Strikeforce heavyweight division, winning their heavyweight title, making his debut now against Frank Mir, the former champion.
$235 for Mr. Cormier. And his opponent, the former UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Frank Mir. $257 from Mr. Mir. That, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna be fireworks. Daniel Cormier and Frank Mir. Now let's take a closer look at the two men involved in the main event of the evening.
This is a big moment for me in my career. Finally, I'm going to have the power of the UFC brand behind me. This is something I've been working for 13 years of my life. So this moment means more to me than it does to a lot of people who got there.
Gilbert is widely regarded to be the biggest threat at 155 pounds. He's a very strong wrestler, ruthless ground and pound, and excellent punching power.
Oh, wow! Look at the quick punches by Gilbert Melendez. He is just beating him up.
You know, I beat the Dream champ. I beat the Shudo champ. I was the first WC champ. I'm the Strikeforce champ. So this win in the UFC, would be a dream come true. I'm ready for Ben now. I'm ready for that title now.
And annihilation!
Gilbert getting a UFC belt in his first fight, I don't see that happening. I expect to win.
In the UFC's lightweight division, there is none better than the champion, Benson Henderson. He has powerful leg kicks, very high-level striking, and he could fight at a torrid pace and never lose steam.
He's very focused, and I see that game face on him. I want to see that face break. I want to hit you, I want to hurt you.
I'm expecting this fight to be a pretty fun fight. Two of the best fighters on the planet, and we're going to find out who really is the best.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the challenger.
Gilbert Melendez could not have asked for a more familiar setting. He is 7-1 when fighting inside the Shark Tank, tomorrow night's venue, and 13-1 when fighting in his home state of California. His lone blemish, a 2008 loss to his longtime rival, Josh Thompson.
From Mr. Melendez. And his opponent, the reigning UFC lightweight champion of the world, Benson Henderson.
Benson Henderson has some of the best kicks in the lightweight division. Keep a lookout for him to use those kicks in order to close in on the takedown, get that top position with a wicked pace, and try for the submission. Don't blink your eyes for this one, ladies and gentlemen.
They want to try first? No.
$155 for the champion. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, for all the marbles, Gilbert Melendez and Benson Henderson. If you are watching the UFC weigh-ins on Fuel TV, don't change the channel. There's plenty more coverage to come with Jay Glazer, Dominic Cruz, Brian Stan, and Ariel Helwani. So let's send it over to the guys with more. Jay?
All right, thank you, Joe. Guys, one thing you get out of these weigh-ins is your blood starts boiling. This really is a super fight. Champion versus champion. Besides the main event, Benson against Melendez. After watching the weigh-ins, who you guys just stoked right now? You can't wait till tomorrow.
Man, I'm like sweating in my suit sitting here right now.
You've cut 10 pounds sitting here.
Yeah, between me and your head, we've cut at least 20. But the truth is this, Gilbert Melendez and Benson Henderson have a different focus that they're both bringing into this fight. Benson always brings this impenetrable focus, but if you look at Gilbert Melendez, I've never seen him look this way. He's as shredded as can be. Look at that focus in his eyes, guys. He is ready to go. He's been looking for this fight in his whole career. He's got championships in every organization you can think of, from K1 to Shudo. So he's ready for this UFC belt and to give a stab at it against Benson Henderson.
Brian, who are you stoked for?
You know, Frank Mir and Daniel Cormier. I mean, you guys saw the stare down. You saw the interview we played before they got on the scale. I mean, these guys are intense right now. There has been a lot of talk, and we're talking about two guys who back it up. Frank Mir breaks bones in the octagon. Daniel Cormier breaks people's hearts. I can't be more excited. I mean, you got one heavyweight who's so athletic, weighs in at 235. Then we have the most well-conditioned Frank Mir I've ever seen on the scale at 255.
Trust me, those two guys, we're going to have an interview with them later on the show. Guarantee you, you're not going to want to miss that interview. Also, don't forget, after the Benson Henderson, Gilbert Melendez Lightweight Championship of the World, the exclusive Fuel TV coverage begins live. The UFC post-fight show tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern, only right here on Fuel TV. Folks, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to hear from the lightweight title challenger himself, Gilbert Melendez, when the UFC weigh-in show on Fuel TV rolls on.
And